Hello, Karen Creighton here. Now, those of you who don't know me, I am a natural health practitioner with 40 years of experience, and my biggest love, apart from helping my wonderful clients achieve their health goals, and their health goals, may they be weight, energy, sleep, free of aches and pains, etc. So I love to dive deeply into the reasons why we get sick. And I have stumbled upon something. Well, actually, I think it just plopped in my lap a few weeks ago. And I've decided it's time to share it because it might be something you don't know about. And so basically, there's a form of EMF exposure that doesn't come from your phone. It doesn't come from your Wi-Fi router, your smart meter, or the 5G street light outside your window. Now, in case you're not sure what EMF is, it's electromagnetic fields. But this one comes from people. Yeah, people. Since mid 2020, well, around the world, mid 2020 here in New Zealand since 2021, we've been living with something unprecedented. A type of electromagnetic exposure that nobody is talking about it. That conventional medicine has no framework for understanding. And that may explain why so many of you have been feeling something you can't quite name. So I want to walk you through what's been happening and why it matters for your health. And most importantly, what you can actually do about it. This isn't a short video and it's not a short read, but if you've been feeling exhausted, inflamed, hormonally chaotic, or just off in a way you can't explain, and also, of course, putting on those extra kilos, I would like to ask you to stay with me till the end of this video. So this comes in four parts. So part one, what is vaccine shedding really? When most people hear vaccine shedding, they think of the old live virus vaccines, the oral polio, rotavirus, and the nasal flu spray. Those contained weakened but living pathogens that can actually replicate and transmit from the vaccinated person to others through stool or respiratory droplets. That kind of shedding is well documented, openly acknowledged, and self-limiting. It stops when the virus clears. What's happening now is completely different. The COVID injections contain an ingredient, graphene oxide, which has powerful electromagnetic properties. Graphene oxide carries a strong electrical charge. It's used in semiconductors, batteries, and electromagnetic shielding specifically because of how it interacts with electrical fields. When this substance enters the human body, it doesn't just sit there inert. It alters the polarity of the human biofield. And I'm just going to explain what that means. Your body is electrical. Every cell in your body maintains a voltage gradient across its membranes. Your nervous system runs on ion exchange. Sodium and potassium moving across the cell walls to generate electrical impulses. Your heart generates an electromagnetic field strong enough to be measured several feet away from your body with a magnetic cardiogram. Your brain's electrical activity is mapped with EEG. These are not metaphors. These are measurements. A healthy human biofield, the total electromagnetic field generated by all the electrical activity in your body, carries a negative charge. This has been documented since the 1930s when Harold Sexton Barr at Yale University published his landmark paper in the Proceedings of the National Academy of Sciences, demonstrating stable, measurable voltage gradients around living organisms. He called it the electrodynamic field of life. Graphene oxide flips that polarity. It turns the biofield from a healthy negative charge to a dangerous positive charge. And here's the part that makes this unlike any other form of EMS exposure on the planet. That positive charge imprints onto other people. It is basically a person-to-person electromagnetic transmission. When an unvaccinated person comes within about 1.5 meters of someone carrying this positive charge, their own biofield becomes electromagnetically imprinted or shedded within minutes. The charge transfers. The polarity flips once you're imprinted, and you can then imprint others. This is not about physical transport of particles. This is about energetic imprinting, a frequency level contamination of the human biofield that propagates person to person. Independent researchers have verified this. Gerard Binney and the team at Orgone Effects tested vaccinated and unvaccinated individuals using bioresonance techniques. They confirmed that unvaccinated people who had been in the proximity to vaccinated people show the same biofield disruption, the same positive charge. Despite testing negative for graphene oxide and spike protein in their blood, the imprinting is electromagnetic, not biochemical. This is why it's unlike anything we've seen before. A 5G tower exposes you while you're near it. Walk away and the exposure stops. A smart meter affects your home, but it is fixed in one location. Even street lamps with 5G antennas that create ground currents through entire properties are geographically contained. Vaccine shedding follows you everywhere, into every room, every building, every social interaction. You cannot walk away from it because it's carried by people around you and it propagates. Shedded people shedding to other unvaccinated people who then shed to others. Just like a virus is supposedly doing, but through electromagnetic means rather than biological. The biological pathway is also real. Alongside the energetic imprinting, there's a physical mechanism that is documented in peer-reviewed literature. A 2022 study published in the Journal of Immunology demonstrates that people who received the mRNA COVID vaccines produce circulating exosomes, tiny membrane-bound particles coated with spike protein. These spike-coated exosomes appear in the bloodstream within 14 days of the first dose, increase dramatically after the second dose, and remain detectable for at least 4 months. A comprehensive review by French researchers Helena Banadoun, don't know if I said that right, catalogued the evidence that these spike protein exosomes, along with vaccine mRNA and lipid nanoparticles, can be excreted from the body through sweat, sputum, and breath. Then they can be taken up by unvaccinated people through inhalation and skin contact. This is not speculation. This is published science, and it's actually what many of us knew about anyway. So we have two mechanisms operating simultaneously: the biological transmission of spike protein via exosomes, and now the electromagnetic imprinting of the biofield via the altered charge state created by graphene oxide. Together, they explain why unvaccinated people in close contact with vaccinated people have been reporting symptoms identical to the vaccine's documented adverse effects. The symptoms that conventional medicine has no framework for understanding and has largely dismissed. Of course. So what does this do to your body? When your biofield is imprinted with this positive charge, The effects cascade through every single system. The meridian system collapses. And basically, if we look at the meridian system, the Chinese meridian system, the network of energy pathways that govern the flow of qi through your vital organs. It has been mapped and studied for thousands of years. Modern research has also confirmed that these meridians correspond to low resonance electrical pathways through the fascia. They are, in essence, the body's electrical wiring. The positive charge from shedding dramatically weakens the meridian system. When the meridians are compromised, your vital organs are deprived of the qi, the vital energy they need to function. This shows up as deep, unshakable fatigue that sleep just doesn't touch. Because your kidney meridian, which governs your body's foundational energy reserves, is depleted. Also, hormonal chaos that doesn't respond to normal treatment. Because your liver meridian, which regulates the smooth flow of energy and blood, is stagnant, and your endocrine signaling is scrambled. Then we have inflammation with no obvious dietary trigger, because your spleen meridian, which governs the transformation and transportation of fluids, is weakened and dampness accumulates in your tissues. Nervous system dysregulation, so wired and exhausted simultaneously, startled by small noises, unable to settle, because your heart meridian, which houses the Shin spirit, is agitated. Brain fog and cognitive decline because the energetic disruption affects the subtle organizing fields that coordinate neural function. A general sense that your body is working against you, because it is. The biofield that should be organizing and protecting your physiology has been compromised. And what happens next? The inevitable weight gain. When the body is under this much stress, you will inevitably gain weight, either obviously or viscerally, which is around the organs. The energetic disruption doesn't stay energetic. It translates into biochemistry. When your biofield is in a state of chronic stress, locked in a positive charge it was never designed to hold, your body interprets this as a threat. The sympathetic nervous system stays activated. Cortisols stay elevated. Inflammatory cytokines are released. Over time, this drives the exact metabolic dysfunction I spent 40 years treating. And so basically it's insulin resistance, hormonal collapse, weight gain, sleep disruption, digestive breakdown, and more. The shedding doesn't just affect your energy. It affects your metabolism, your hormones, your moods, your sleep, and your ability to lose weight. It makes everything harder. Now, the question you're probably asking yourself is why some people collapse and others don't. And here is the most important thing to understand, and the reason I have hope to offer you. Shedding doesn't affect everyone equally. Same exposure, same proximity, same duration. One person gets flattened, the other barely notices. Why? Because the biofield isn't some separate ghost floating around your body. It's an expression of your body's total energetic state. And that state is built from mitochondrial health. Your mitochondria, the power plants inside every cell, don't just make ATP. They generate the electrical potential that your biofield runs in. Every electron that moves through the electron transport chain contributes to the voltage gradient across your mitochondrial membrane. Multiply that by trillions of mitochondria in your body, and you begin to understand where your biofield comes from. A person with healthy, abundant, well-functioning mitochondria generates a strong, coherent biofield. A person with damaged, depleted mitochondria which describes nearly everyone with metabolic syndrome, chronic fatigue, or hormonal dysfunction, generates a weak, fragmented biofield that has no resilience against external imprinting. So every membrane in your body is a capacitor. It holds charge. The phospholipid biolayer that surrounds each cell maintains the voltage difference between the inside and outside of the cell. Billions of cells holding proper charge creates a coherent biofield. When your cell membranes are oxidized, inflamed, and structurally compromised, which they will be if you're eating the standard modern diet of seed oils, processed carbohydrates, and chronic stress, they cannot hold charge properly. The biofield leaks, it becomes disorganized, then it becomes vulnerable to imprinting. And so your cells do not run on intention, they run on ions: sodium, potassium, magnesium, calcium, trace minerals. These are the actual physical particles that carry electrical current through your body. A mineral depleted body is like a battery with corroded terminals. The charge can't flow. The voltage can't hold. The biofield has no structural integrity. Modern agriculture has stripped our soils of minerals. Processed food has stripped what's left. Chronic stress depletes magnesium at an accelerated rate. Most people, especially women over 40, are walking around with severely depleted mineral reserves and don't know it. We won't go into the fact that we've been encouraged to cut out salts and things like that, but you know the story. So chronic inflammation is like a static on a radio signal. It scatters the biofield. It depolarizes tissues. It makes coherent energetic function impossible. The standard Western diet, as I mentioned before, seed oils, refined carbohydrates, sugar, processed everything, is a constant inflammatory assault. Add environmental toxins, chronic stress, poor sleep, and gut dysfunction, and you have a body that's broadcasting nothing but noise. A biofield in that state cannot resist anything. And also, you cannot have a stable biofield when your nervous system is locked in fight or flight. Sympathetic dominance fragments your energetic coherence. The biofield becomes erratic, spiky, and disorganized. Most people in our modern world, especially women carrying the load of careers, families, and chronic health issues, are stuck in some degree of sympathetic overdrive. Their nervous systems haven't truly rested in years, and biofields reflect that. So, a body that is mineral depleted, inflamed, metabolically broken, mitochondrially exhausted, which is stuck in a chronic fight or flight, has no biofield resilience. It's a lighting rod for energetic imprinting. The shedding takes hold deeply, and the body has no resources to clear it. A body that is minerally replete, metabolically flexible, low inflammation, and mitochondrially robust, and nervous system regulated has coherent, resilient biofield. The imprinting either doesn't take hold or it takes hold weakly enough that the body can clear it. Terrain is everything. This is the principle that has guided my work for 40 years, and it has never been more relevant than it is right now. How Fast Track to Health builds biofield resilience. When I developed Fast Track to Health 16 years ago, I was focused on the metabolic crisis I was seeing in women over 40. The weight gain that won't budge, the hormonal collapse, the crushing fatigue, the inflammation, and the sense that our bodies just had turned against them. What I've come to understand is that my program, Fast Track to Health, addresses something even more fundamental: biofield resilience. Every single component of Fast Track to Health directly strengthens the terrain against energetic assault. So, with Fast Track, we replete the minerals, and the reason is because it's our minerals is our electrical infrastructure. So salt isn't just for hydration, although it's very important. Magnesium isn't just for sleep and for cramps. Minerals are the literal electrical infrastructure of your body, and I see minerals as the foundation of our health. If we don't have sturdy foundation, then we cannot have good health. So sodium and potassium run the ion pumps in every cell membrane. The sodium potassium AT phase pump that maintains your cellular voltage. Magnesium stabilizes cell membranes and regulates calcium ion channels. Also, it helps with the making of digestive enzymes, but that's another subject. Trace minerals, zinc, copper, selenium, iodine, are cofactors for the enzymes that maintain cellular energetics and antioxidant defense. In Fast Track to Health, we restore these aggressively, not with isolated synthetic supplements, but with food, unrefined salt, and a targeted replenishment based on what your specific body needs. A mineral replete body has a coherent, resilient biofield. A mineral depleted body is electrically leaky and vulnerable to every external frequency. Along with the minerals, we add in low inflammatory, low carb based nutrition. That in turn quietens the noise. The seed oil, processed carbohydrates, and plant defense chemicals in the modern diet are a constant inflammatory assault in your body. Chronic inflammation is like static on a radio signal. It scatters your biofield and makes coherent energetic function impossible. By removing these inflammatory triggers and emphasizing nutrient-dense animal foods, the most bioavailable source of protein, fat-soluble vitamins and minerals, we quieten the inflammatory noise. Your biofield can reorganize around its natural, healthy, negative charge. Your cell membranes can then repair. Your mitochondria can function. This isn't about restriction. It's about giving your body what it actually needs and removing what's poisoning it. Then we come to metabolic flexibility, and that is all about restoring mitochondrial function. When your body can't switch between burning carbohydrates and burning stored body fat for energy, you're in a state of chronic energetic dysfunction. Your mitochondria, the power plants in every cell, are underperforming. They're damaged, depleted, and unable to generate the electrical potential your biofield depends on. And so metabolic flexibility is the ability to switch between fuel sources. When you restore it through strategic nutrition, intermittent fasting, and the right metabolic support, your mitochondria comes back online. The mitochondria don't just make energy. They generate the voltage that your entire biofield runs on. Restore metabolic flexibility, and you restore the power source of your biofield. So you can have perfect nutrition and optimal minerals, but if your nervous system is locked in fight or flight, your biofield will remain fragmented. Sympathetic dominance, the state of chronic stress that most modern women and men live in, scatters your energetic coherence and leaves you vulnerable to every external frequency. Our nervous system's work isn't just about stress management. It's about creating the internal conditions for biofield integrity. When your nervous system can move fluidly between activation and rest, when you can actually settle into parasympathetic mode, your biofield becomes coherent, organized, and resilient. In our Fast Track to Health, we've just introduced the living range. And the reason is it's protecting our physical infrastructure. So the living range formulations built around traditional prepared olive leaf and other natural compounds supports cellular health, membrane integrity, and metabolic function. Olive leaf polyphenols, particularly oleuroprene and hydroxytyrosol, integrate in cell membranes and protect them from oxidative damage. Your cell membranes are the capacitors that hold your body's electrical charge. Protect the membranes and you protect the biofields. I also encourage clients to take high polyphenol extra virgin olive oil taken at therapeutic doses, and that provides oleocanthal, a compound that inhibits inflammatory pathways the same way ibuprofen does, but without the gut damage. It provides hydroxytyrosol, which crosses the blood-brain barrier and reduces neuroinflammation. It provides the lipid substrate for hormone production and cell membrane repair. These aren't supplements that you take because someone told you they're healthy. They are targeted therapeutic tools that directly support the physical infrastructure your biofield absolutely depends on. And so also I've created quantum essences, and I also recommend bioenergetic medicine, which could clear what's stuck. And some of the blocks aren't biochemical, they're energetic. Some are emotional. Some are patterns inherited from your family, absorbed from your environment, or imprinted through experiences you may or may not even remember. These blocks keep the body stuck. Sorry. It's always the way, isn't it? Keep your body stuck, regardless of how perfect your nutrition is, how balanced your minerals are, and how regulated your nervous system can be. So what I've observed when I first started using Fast Track to Health is when clients were clearing their bodies, as in getting rid of fat, getting rid of symptoms and things, is very often emotional imbalances came to the forefront, and that's why quantum essences were developed over years of observation and watching people get stuck in their healing and then building targeted energetic remedies to move them through. These address the emotional and energetic layers that nutrition alone cannot reach. The bioenergy medicine component of my practice works directly with your biofield, assessing where it's disrupted, where the charge is off, and where the flow is blocked, and supporting your body's innate ability to restore its own coherence. You cannot fix an energetic problem with nutrition alone. You cannot fix a nutritional problem with energetic work alone. You need both. So the practical things you can do at home, I'm not going to go through all of these in the video, but it's in the blog that goes along with this. So while the Fast Track to Health program provides comprehensive support, there are things that you can start doing immediately to strengthen your own biofield. There's a detox foot bath, which contains salt, bicarbonate of soda, and borax, and it's simple to do. And I've got a bath recipe, but also you can do it in a foot bath if you haven't got a bath. Then there's therapeutic use of extra virgin olive oil. I've done another video, and I'll put the link below this one, because extra virgin olive oil is an amazing, amazing tool to really help your body do some healing. And I know many women who have had hot flushes and been following my instructions. They've almost disappeared overnight for some. Also, unrefined salts and mineral-rich foods. Do not fear salt. Use unrefined salt liberally on real food. Your adrenal glands, your nervous system, and your cellular voltage all depend on adequate sodium. I get my clients to do a lot more than that, but hey, it's a good place to start. And then there's other foods that I really, really recommend, and that's bone broth, organ meats, if you can tolerate it. If not, there's some really good suppliers of supplements that are just organ meats, shellfish and eggs from real free-range eggs. These are the most mineral-dense foods on the planet. They provide ionic substrate for your biofield runs on. It is really important. And also distance yourself when you can. Physical proximity matters. The imprinting happens within about 1.5 meters and in seconds. You can't avoid people entirely, but you can be mindful in enclosed spaces, in queues, at events. Give yourself space when you're able to. It's not paranoia, it's terrain management. Also, I would encourage you to do the detox foot bath above. And so basically to when you get home and before it can actually, that static can get into your physical body. And I want to say something really directly. If you've been feeling exhausted, inflamed, hormonally out of balance, or just wrong in a way you can't explain, you're not crazy. You're not making it up. It's not just stress, or just menopause, or just getting older. Your body is responding to real pressures, and it's actually sharing with you that something isn't right. And in my work, I always recommend that you listen to your body. Any symptoms your body is presenting to you, it's sharing with you that something isn't right. And your body is responding totally to real pressures, environmental pressures that are unlike anything humans have ever faced before. Electromagnetic pressures that conventional medicine doesn't acknowledge because it has no framework for them. Biological pressures from a medical intervention that was rolled out without adequate safety testing and without any study of what it might do to the people around those who received it. But here's what I need you to hear. Your body knows how to heal. It has an innate intelligence that, given the right support, can restore itself to coherence, vitality, and resilience. Your mitochondria want to function. Your cell membranes want to hold proper charge. Your nervous system wants to settle. Your biofield wants to be coherent. Your body wants to heal itself. It has the ability to heal itself. Your body is under attack, and it is not broken. There's a big difference between being broken and under attack. So the same principles that restore metabolic health, real food, mineral repletion, nervous system regulation, reduced inflammation, emotional clearing, are the principles that restore biofield resilience. The terrain that resists metabolic disease is the same terrain that resists energetic imprinting. You don't need to understand every mechanism. You don't need to become an expert in electrophysiology or graphene oxide or exome biology. You need to give your body what it needs to do, what it already knows how to do. And that is where Fast Track to Health comes in. It is not just weight loss, which is what I designed it for in the first place. But there's a reason why I call it Fast Track to Health and not Fast Track to Weight Loss. So basically, this program helps with weight loss, yes. It helps with hormone balancing, yes. It helps you gain more energy. It helps your body to really hold its ground physically, metabolically, and energetically, no matter what the environment throws at it. Thank you so much for getting this far. And if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to ask.